Welcome to Business Leadership Podcast. In this podcast, I interview successful business leaders and industry experts to help you grow your business. In this episode, I had a discussion with Umair Farooq, founder and a CEO of Contact Group, international company managing successful brands in the publishing, talent management, and technology. Umair's entrepreneurial journey began in high school, where his early venture laid the foundation for his future success in building and scaling businesses across diverse industries. As a business owners, we all look for different options, new perspective to grow and scale our companies. Whether you're already outsourcing some part of your business process or whether you're considering to outsource some part of your business process, I think my discussion with Umair will provide another option and also will provide different perspective, if you're looking to considering outsource some part of your process. We talked about what kind of projects he's working on. We also talked about what kind of clients he's working on and how they measure success, how they deliver success, and also what's been successful for all the clients he's been working over the years. And more importantly, he also talks about how they manage relationship with the clients and also how they manage client expectation on ongoing basis. And I'm sure this discussion with Umair will provide another perspective and another option for your business to consider. If you like that content in this video, if you find a value, don't forget to like and share with your friends. Until next time, please welcome Umair Farooq. Hi guys, welcome to Business Leadership Podcast. Today our guest is Umair Farooq. Umair, I'm looking forward to a discussion. You have multiple companies. I'm looking forward to learning about these businesses and what you do and sharing that with the audience. And so thank you so much for your time. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Gurmeet. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate you for reaching out and happy to speak to you.
Welcome. So let's talk about your business. If you can just give us, our audience, a little summary. So Contact Group, it spells with a K. Contact Group is a parent company, I take it, right? It's a group of companies, or what's involved in this group of companies?
Yeah, so I founded Contact Group a couple of years ago. It is a parent company and we operate 3 brands. Our biggest brand at the moment is Life Size Publishing. So we're a storytelling agency based in Toronto, and we work with successful individuals from various industries, and we just help them share their stories. So that could be in the form of autobiographies, memoirs, and coaching books. And at the moment, we're writing anywhere between 9 to 15 books at any given time. And the second brand is called Contact Consulting. So that is an online reputation management agency. So it's, I guess, the easiest way for me to explain what we do is we're talent management. We work with a lot of athletes, ex-athletes, Olympians, speakers, business coaches, and we're essentially helping them build their online presence. And our third brand is called Contact Dev, and that's a white labeling agency. So we work with other software houses, and we're just essentially fulfilling their production on the back end, and we have a back office in Pakistan.
Got it. So 3 different, these are totally 3 different businesses, right? How difficult is to manage these 3 different areas? Because these are 3 different expertise, right? From publishing to software development to all the way to reputation management.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it is overwhelming to say the least. But I think for me, what's kept me afloat all these years is, number one, I have clear values and I stick to my values regardless of what I'm doing, where I'm doing it, and who I'm working with. And then number 2 is, fundamentally speaking, all businesses are the same. You have sales, you have marketing, you have production. If you're able to get clients on, you need to keep your clients satisfied. So my approach is, I'm not always focused on just bringing new clients in every day. I'm focused on nurturing my existing client base, building my existing client base, and then also making sure that they're satisfied at any given time. So I give my credit to my team. I've had some wonderful people around me for many, many years. I've been doing business for about 9 years now. And I have some people who I've worked with from day one, still working with me, my partners, colleagues, team members. That's what's kept me afloat all these years.
Very interesting. So how does the structure work? Before we get into outsourcing all this stuff, Umair, I want to understand, how does the structure work? Is it only project management in Canada, or is it a full software houses in Canada? How does the structure of the companies work?
Yeah. So I am originally from Pakistan. I was born and raised in Karachi. I moved to Canada a couple of years ago. My back office is all in Pakistan for all 3 companies. All our production is done in Pakistan. Our project managers, our salespeople, our business development reps, obviously production, fulfillment, everything is based in Pakistan. We have an office in Karachi, and then we've got a hybrid model and a remote workforce in 3 other different cities across Pakistan. And then we've got contractors obviously based all around the world. Our writers are also based in North America, the Middle East, Europe, and obviously we have a few writers in Pakistan. But yeah, full back office is essentially operated in Pakistan.
So that seems to be a very profitable a business model that I see from a lot of companies, that when you have a resource, one you have a access to pool of resources, not only for one area, you can pool from all over the world. The second is the labor cost is much cheaper on those countries, and so talk about some of that. If you can walk us through, what do you think is some of those key benefits running a business model the way you're running?
Yeah, there are many pros and cons to doing business in Pakistan versus doing business in North America. I think the biggest advantage is, like you said, there is an advantage as far as labor cost. Labor is significantly cheaper in Pakistan, and people in that region work significantly harder than people in North America. I think the way life is structured over there is very different. Your life revolves around work versus over here, people are striving to have that work-life balance. That is non-existent for the most part in Pakistan. And obviously, as an organization, I try my best, or we try our best to develop a positive culture. But people generally like working harder and are more involved with the whole process. But the biggest advantage, like I mentioned, is the cheaper labor force. The second biggest advantage is Pakistanis or Indians, for that matter, that whole Asian region. The way they do business is more straightforward. So if you tell somebody to do their job, you give them the job, you give them the task, even if they don't know how to do it right off the bat, they'll figure it out. And there's a saying in Pakistan, and I'm sure it's very common in other regions in that area. It's we'll figure it out. Over the first task is getting the job, and then the second task is figuring it out, finding the right talent, and joining hands and getting the job done. That does, for the most part, turn out to be a good thing. It is an advantage for most people, but it can also be a disadvantage in the sense that they take on a lot of work, but they're unable to fulfill that work, and their plans didn't work out. But for the most part, I think I've been working with Pakistani talent for many years now, close to a decade, and I've had very good experiences, some very bad experiences as well. But that's anywhere in the world. I don't think our labor is anything less than labor in North America.
Yeah, talent pool in Canada, especially in a technology IT world, is very poor at the moment, right? We all struggle with that. All business owners that are watching, they know that talent pool is very poor in Canada, and the hard work is not there. Simply that what we were just talking about, that the access to the bigger pools definitely is not there. So you mentioned that they're not committed, they're not looking for work-life balance. They simply just want to work. Is that sustainable in a longer term, or is it a short term they can do it, in a longer term they can fall out of it? What's your thoughts on sustaining that work, the talent pool in longer terms?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. And one thing I was told a very long time ago, for talent, any good talent, or even mediocre talent for the most part, they have problems in their lives, and those problems are not because of their work-life balance issues. It's because of external differences. So maybe they don't have their own house, they don't have a car, their cars have a problem. Everybody has problems at home, right? And you as an employer, you as an organization, to help your or support your talent and to support your staff, you need to solve their problems. Just like in business, when I'm
Hmm.
doing business in any of our brands, we are solving problems. We're not in the business to make a lot of money. We're in the business to solve prevalent problems in society and in businesses. That's the exact same approach I take with talent. So my solution to helping them figure out their work-life balance or helping them solve their problems is not just giving them more money. I won't pay somebody 10% or 20% or 30% more just for the sake of, oh, you know what, it might help them. What I do is I take the extra effort of actually helping them figure out that problem. So an example of that would be, it's a very simple example that happened very recently. I have an individual I've been working for I believe 5 years now. He came to me as a supervisor for my last company, and he ended up becoming the general manager in less than a year. And this person is not educated. He did not go to college. He did not finish school. But
Hmm.
because I was able to support him, because he was supporting me as a team member, as a colleague while I was building that business, we were successfully able to really build out that business. And because I supported him, because I helped solve his problems alongside him, instead of just giving him money, throwing money at him and saying, fix your own problems, we were able to really have a positive outcome, and it's a better solution than just giving him 10% or 20% more.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation for both parties, right? So what I'm hearing is that relationship management is a key for no matter where you work, I guess, right? Building those long-lasting relationship is always, has a more rewarding than simply just throwing money at the problems.
Exactly. And I don't believe in win-win. I think win-win is a misconception. I believe in win-win-win. I believe the employer needs to win, the employee needs to win, and the client needs to win. So my three values are honesty, integrity, and inclusive. Inclusive being I can be an employer, but I should not be prioritizing profit over the satisfaction and the culture and the positivity within my organization. I will drop clients, I will drop business if it needs me, if I need to sacrifice my talent's health or my talent's positivity. Like I will do anything in my power to make sure my talent is satisfied with their job.
Okay. So let's talk about skill levels. What's comparable to US and Canada? What is a skill level? Is that enough workforce available there to do the work? What situation like a talent pool, if you look at Pakistan, or even, if you have in Canada, the talent pool?
Yeah, I actually like to start off with a lot of people don't know this about Pakistan or Southeast Asia, but they're fulfilling majority of the work in the world right now. I mean, people think that Pakistan and India, and even China, Philippines as well, people over there are reserved for call centers or outbound calling, but it's not the reality. I mean, we have Pakistani IT companies doing 600, 700, $800 million a year off of BPO, off of IT development, off of software development. So as far as talent is concerned, Pakistan has almost 300 million people. We have a huge population, and the majority of our population is under 30 years old. So we have an extremely young population, and this is very consistent with all countries in that region.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all, like I said, most of them are below the poverty line or lower middle class. So for them, their main goal, like I said, biggest difference between here and Pakistan is their main goal is not to achieve work-life balance. Their main goal is I want to provide for my family. I want a better lifestyle. And they'll do whatever it takes to build that lifestyle. So
Mm-hmm.
terms that are thrown around in North America like burnout or work-life balance or a 9 to 5 fixed timings, this is not something that's consistent in Pakistan or that region. People want to get the work done and they want to satisfy their employers because they know they'll get a better return, they'll be able to build their careers, etc., etc. But to your question, we have, I think, the most common talent pool in Pakistan is probably going to be developers. We have a lot of developers for different softwares, different languages, and basic development all the way to more complex development. Like we have Magento developers who are certified by Magento. We have basic Shopify developers, WordPress developers,
Mm-hmm.
CMS, Squarespace type developers, all the way to more complex like Python, or we have people who are building multinational applications. We have a lot of the people who built the Uber app were from Pakistan. They were part of the team. A lot of the people that build the apps that we use on a daily basis, like DoorDash, or what are the other apps I use, like Instagram, or all these other really, really large applications, they have teams outsourced to Pakistan or to India or Southeast Asia.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. So, from your service company standpoint, Omir, do you provide outsourced resources? Are you applying outsourced employees, or are you providing as a service? Where's what area your focus is? Providing service or solutions, or are you providing a teams as well outsourced?
Yep. I would consider myself a product. I'm a productized service. So for life size publishing, we are a product. We have 3 packages. That's it. You have to choose from these 3 products. And obviously we'll customize it just a bit, but for the most part, it's, we're writing the book for you. We have a certain set of talent that's, associated with this product, and this is what you receive. An example of this, and this is my biggest advantage, obviously, as a service or a product provider, is because the talent is significantly more cost effective. I am able to put 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 people per project. And those 20 people will cost me the same as a North American putting one person on a project. So just to give the viewers an example, in
Mm-hmm.
North America, you'll have, a solid developer with 8 to 10 years of experience at six figures, at least $100,000, at least
Mm-hmm.
100,000 Canadian dollars. In Pakistan, somebody with 10 years of experience, let's say a Magento developer, will cost you about 250,000 Pakistani rupees, which is about 1,000 Canadian dollars a month, which is $12,000, or to make the math easier, $15,000 a year. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a 6 or 7x more cost-effective approach. The work is going to be the same. The communication skills might not as be as good as a North American, but it doesn't matter. He's a developer. Like his job is to develop
Yeah.
code,
Mm-hmm.
write the code. So it's for the job he's being hired to do, he'll be excellent at it, if not better than the North American doing it.
How about the quality of the code? Do you still, is there quality control? Like, you guys run a quality control, or the client has to run a quality control? How do you guys figure out that piece, that make sure that it's consistent and it's quality code?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think a lot of Southeast Asian companies get a bad rep because of quality. We'll do the job, but
Mm-hmm.
it won't be a high quality job. We'll half-ass it most of the time. But I think the one thing we've really, really emphasized on in our organization is quality. And we are very, very anal about quality. Every single thing that goes out to our customers, that goes out to our clients, is obviously quality control. We have QA processes in place, and we ensure that anything that goes to the client is checked before sending it out, approved. Each client has a dedicated project manager, each client has a dedicated account manager, and a creative account manager, depending on our brand. So all three of them are actually ensuring that the quality is up to the standard that we've committed. And then most importantly, if there are issues, because nobody's perfect, even if you're working
Mm-hmm.
with the number one agency in the world for development, they are going to make mistakes. What matters
Mm-hmm.
is how you fix your mistakes. So if I'm providing you a service and there are one, two, and three problems, I'll get them fixed as soon as possible with little no feedback. I'll know, okay, this is the problem. Let me fix it. Let me give it back to you. I won't take a week to do it. I'll take a few hours. That's the biggest advantage I believe I have. Quality is on par with any North American company, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. So I know before Ukraine and Russia war started, a lot of companies were outsourcing in Ukraine. I heard, outsourcing in, I had one gentleman on, David, we were talking about, he has a center in the Philippines as well. You've probably seen all those different options as well. Are you able to talk about some of the benefits that people have in outsourcing to your company in Pakistan over the other regions as well? Is there any benefits, or is that a competitive market, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think a lot of people look at countries or organizations as a whole, as a collective. I like to look at people as individuals. So there are going to be good individual talent or talent pools in Pakistan, in India, in Philippines, in Ukraine, in anywhere in the world. So, and a lot of people work with Eastern European companies as well because it's cheaper labor over there, and they do speak better English than most other countries. So, to your question, I think good talent is everywhere. I know talent in the Philippines is really, really good for call centers because they speak great English. English is something that they're taught in school,
Mm-hmm.
and they also all work at night. So the whole Philippines culture for working is they'll work throughout the whole night, and then they'll be sleeping in the morning or spending time with their families in the day and in the morning. So I know that the Philippines is really good for call centers and for BPO related work. So any business process outsourcing like virtual assistants, graphic
Mm-hmm.
designing, social media managers. I know the Philippines is really good at that. Or executive assistants. I've actually very recently I was looking for an EA in the Philippines, and I found some really really good ones at a very good price. Whereas I know in Ukraine there are really good developers. So Ukraine is for the more complex development work. I think there are some really smart people over there. And then in Southeast Asia, like I said, developers, but also we've got a lot of good marketing, paid marketing, and creative talent in Pakistan and
Got it.
Southeast Asia.
Got it. Got it. Very interesting. So what is some of the misconception? What are some of the pushback you get? What some of the challenges that you have to deal with? From especially in the Canadian market, U.S. market, when you're trying to sell your product and services. What are some of the from business leaders who are watching and listening? Definitely, they have some misconceptions as well. So one of some of the top ones that you have to deal with.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I get that question quite often from friends also, because a lot of my friends are Pakistanis. They run so I have a friend in publishing, a friend in BPO, and they prefer to hide the fact that my back office is in Pakistan or my talent is in Pakistan until after the contract is signed. So once the client is onboarded, then they'll be like, oh, you know what? I have a Pakistani wing as well. I
Yeah.
hate that approach. I'm
Yeah.
very upfront. I have made it my mission. Even if you go to my LinkedIn, my banner clearly says I am putting out Pakistani talent to the world.
Yeah. What's the
So
point
I've
of
been
hiding
very
it?
upfront. Exactly. I've been
Exactly.
very upfront with it. And
Hmm.
I'm very transparent with anybody who asks me questions. If you ask me where my talent is based, I clearly say Pakistan. And I think that's kind of what fuels me. The whole point of what I do is the fact that I want to push my people up to the front in all these different industries. So yeah, great question, but I'm very transparent with it, and clients have never had a problem with it. I had one client who was hesitant, literally out of all the clients that I work with, I had one who was hesitant with it. And I work and I've worked with some fascinating and very, very interesting and respectable people. And they're all really happy to give me a referral or speak to my clients on my behalf. And I remember this individual had spoken to one of my other clients, and his specific concern was his talents in Pakistan. They probably don't even know what they're doing and stuff. And my
Hmm.
client was he very confidently said, "You will not find better talent than this." So it was an easy bridge to sort of take over for me, but I've never had any issues with it, and I doubt I will, because if it's quality service, if they're communicating clearly, if we're meeting our deadlines, there's no reason for you to have a problem with us.
Yeah, one of the pushback I hear from a lot of business, owners or colleagues, Umair, is always that cultural differences. That these people in a different country, they don't understand our culture, the way we work with the customers, the way we operate. That is one of them. Communication is another one, and those two. I always hear that from a business owner say, listen, I tried the services. That's what happened. Communication was another part I couldn't explain, even though they were speaking English, but their understanding was different, and the cultural differences. If you can speak to those, what do you find when it comes to these kind of questions?
I'll give you a really interesting insight, and I am not many people have an insight like mine, because I was born in Pakistan, I was raised in Pakistan, but while I was in Pakistan, I went to an American school. So I was always sort of in the middle of a dilemma where do I associate myself, or do I show myself as a purebred Pakistani, or do I show myself as, oh, I went to an American school and I have American teachers and stuff. But when I moved to Canada, and I'll tell you, for me, the biggest mind shift or paradigm shift I had was when I was in Pakistan. Every single Pakistani, lower middle class, upper middle class, the wealthiest people in Pakistan, all of them want to be like Americans. So the American or North American culture is seeping into the world. You go to the Philippines, you go to Southeast Asia, you go to India, you go to Vietnam, you go to China. They all want to be like the Americans because of on social media or online, you're looking at North America like, wow, it's some sort of a utopia where freedom of speech and democracy and they choose their government and these are obviously political things, but they matter. That is what culture is at the end of the day. And these are the people who are determining what culture stays and what culture doesn't, because culture has been changing so often in the past few years. But I don't think it's an issue because, like I said, everybody in Pakistan is wanting to be like the Americans. So
Hmm.
they have somehow sort of made their personalities or morphed their personalities into this hybrid between they can flip a switch on and act like Americans or speak like Americans and use the slang, use the references. It's like they literally lived in New York. They can talk about the Empire State Building or where Friends was recorded or whatever the case may be. So I don't see a big difference, but obviously there is you can tell. It's not that you can't tell. There is a clear difference, but people have tried or made an effort to bridge that gap.
Yeah, but in your case, in a software development, you're not looking for these people to provide a customer service, right? If they're doing a back office work where they're writing code, you're not going to see that difference in a culture or in a language because they're simply just writing a code, right?
Exactly. Yep.
I think when some roles in a customer service and a call center, that's where probably it's more important to be worried about that. But writing a code in a back office work, you're probably not going to see any difference.
Exactly. Yeah, like for example, we have a project going on. We've been working with an agency based in Canada for I think 9 months, 9 or 10 months now. We've done 7 or 8 projects for them, built, softwares, websites for them. And we just communicate via WhatsApp. There's no phone calling, there's no Zoom calling. They give us a task, they tell us what to do, they send us a loom of what we need to do. These are the tasks we need. They ask us for a quote, we give them an hourly rate, and we literally we set a deadline. We in most cases we deliver before the deadline. They're happy, they give us changes, we make the changes, and we call it a day. So it's pretty straightforward as far as the development side of work is concerned. But for the publishing, it's more complex because obviously the individuals we work with in the publishing firm, these are extremely successful individuals who not monetarily necessarily successful, but they've achieved a lot in life. They, like I said, Olympians, ex-NFL players, uh, public speakers, disability advocates, founders of 20, $30 million companies. So we work with some really, really interesting and successful people. But again, I feel like the more successful a person is, the more exposure he has. And the more exposure and wisdom and experience you have, the better you understand other people and the more considerate you are. So
Mm-hmm.
they're actually really, they fit well with our team. They don't really care if they're based in Pakistan. And if they do make a mistake, they'll correct them and they won't put too much pressure on them.
Yeah, in that business on a publishing, there gotta be a lot of creative works being happening, right? So in terms of creative work, is there any difference? The culture plays a role in that. When you creative work, or is it creative work is just creative work? Doesn't matter what was it digitally, what is it online? How does that work and when it comes to the different language or cultural barriers?
Yep. So I think I'll go back to my point about how North American culture seeped through the whole world, right? So Netflix is available in Pakistan, and I'll give you an example. When I was younger, I watched a show called Mad Men, and it was about the 60s and 70s ad agencies in New York, and the show basically goes into how these ad agencies influenced millions of people through their ads and through their promotions and their whatever products they were pushing at that moment in time. I watched that in Canada, but if somebody watches that in America or Pakistan, they're also
Yeah,
consuming
the
the
same
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 content that I
content.
am over here. Or if
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Instagram and I follow 100 influencers in Canada, the same 100 influencers are followed by somebody in Pakistan. So they're being influenced by the same trends, the same culture, the same themes. So I don't see a big difference as far as that is concerned. I would argue that our creatives are better simply because they're making more of an effort. They're not here, right? When you're over here, you're kind of comfortable. It's just happening around you. You're not actively searching for new influences. You're not actively reading more books, for example, or consuming more podcasts. You're doing it as leisure. Like I just read a book tonight, and I enjoyed it, or I watched a podcast yesterday, or somebody might watch this just in their free time. People aren't doing that in Pakistan or Southeast Asia. They're doing it for education. They'll watch a podcast like that to learn more about your business, to learn more about what Umar is doing, or they'll watch a Netflix show or a movie about, whatever the theme may be. But they're doing it for educational purposes, to learn better English, to learn the accent, to learn the cultural references. So I don't see a big difference. And I think some people are better than others, obviously, but for the most part, we haven't had any issues.
Yeah, that is focus on the focus challenges what you just mentioned, or the hard work and being driven. I think that's definitely a lack in our culture in Canada, right? So whether it's a young talent you're trying to bring to the company, I see these people challenged with these skill set all the time. Finding the right people with the focus and a driven and hard work ethics. I mean, that's hard to find, and especially when it comes to IT challenges.
Yep. And also with work from home, with hybrid work, with remote work, I think it's become horrible. I know people who work at multinational companies in North America, in Canada, and they work in the office 2 days and the other 3 days they're working from home. They don't do anything. And they're
Mhm.
proudly, confidently saying, yeah, they're in like sales, for example, we made 10 calls a day, whereas their target was 100 calls. Or we made 200 calls today, but their target was 500 calls. Now, they can laugh about it, but as an employer, as an organization that's paying that individual 60, 70, $80,000 a year, it's going to hurt that employer.
Mhm.
If that employer hired somebody for $8,000 a year in Pakistan, which is it's an amazing salary, he's going to get triple, quadruple, five, six, 7x the output that North American is giving him. So there's
Mm-hmm.
a huge difference as far as work ethic is concerned. And in Pakistan, everybody they clearly know I will be replaced. Nobody has this ego about, what, I'm so good at my job, I will not be. I've worked at North American companies. I work with North American companies now. I see it with their talent. I see it with their stuff. It's a big problem.
Yeah. So how about the time zones? Do they work in a different time zones? If you have a, if a team and here and you have to work with a team offshores, are there different time zones they need to coordinate and work together?
Yeah. So my team works 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Pakistan time, which is 9 to 5 a.m. EST. And we run a hybrid model. So two
Got
days
it.
at home, 3 days in the office. And then for the people who live in other cities, it's fully remote. But one thing that I learned early on, because initially when we had launched the company, we were running remote and we were having a lot of issues with output, people not doing their jobs, people not fulfilling their tasks. And I am not the type of person who wants to micromanage individuals. If I have to, I have to, but it's something I hate, and I would hate for somebody to micromanage me. So I know how it feels. But I moved it to, okay, you have to put X number of hours a day because that's your job, to these are your tasks, just fulfill them. That's your output that I'm going to be looking at, right? That's how I'm going to judge your performance. And since I made that shift, I think it's been significantly better. So we don't have any tracking devices on our team members' laptops or phones. We
Yeah.
don't really care where they work for, as long as they let us know I'm traveling. I will be working though, but I'm traveling. That's fine.
Yeah.
We have
You're
no
looking for
problems.
accountability. You're looking for
It's all
accountability.
about
Measure the
accountability,
work.
and
Yeah.
it's something we made very clear to our staff. It's Listen, you need to be accountable for yourself. You are not a child, you are an adult. You have been given a great opportunity to work with individuals in North America and some of the most interesting people in the world. You can throw that chance away in a second. It won't hurt us. It'll hurt yourself. So when you put it like that, a lot of people realize it. Some don't. My churn rate is high as far as my talent is concerned. I hire fast, but I fire faster. And that's been a rule for me since the beginning. People are coming in, you don't want to work, and I see that your performance is poor in the first month. I will not wait 2 months or give you another chance. If you're not going to work hard when you come into a company, you're certainly not going to work hard 6 months or a year down the road. And a good example of that is when you buy a car, usually the dealers tell you drive it slow for the first 1,000 kilometers. The engine is just settling in. I went to buy a car recently, and my dealer said, don't drive it slow. Drive it as much as you want. If it's not going to work properly in the first 1,000 kilometers, it's certainly not going to work in the next 50,000 kilometers. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I look at it.
Does that turnover impact the client or results that you guys deliver? If you have a high turnover, definitely it's going to slow down a little bit, because you got to do knowledge transfer, all that kind of stuff. Does that impact any shape or form the businesses? How do you guys handle that piece?
Yeah, it has in the past, but we learn from our mistakes. So, for example, if I'm hiring for a role as a social media manager, I know that I only have one vacancy, but I'll hire three people, right? And whichever one turns out to be the best, I retain them. And if more than one is good, then that's just a benefit for me. Then I can place them in a different company or on a different project. So I think that's one way we tackle it. And then the second way we tackle it is, I don't believe in going through 3 or 5 or 10 different interview processes, because it's a waste of my time, my HR team's
Okay.
time, and the potential employees' time. We're very straightforward. We have one call, maximum two calls. We ask them a question. They give us all their information. We look at their backgrounds. Are you confident? Do you want to work here? Do your values align? If they do, work, right? If you're going to do a good job, you're going to do a good job. If you don't, and we make it very clear right off the bat, we don't hire anybody on a permanent basis. We hire everybody on it's a trainee basis, basically. It's like a full-time job. They get paid a full-time salary, but we let them know that if you aren't performing, we will fire you. It's as simple as that.
Very interesting. So let's talk about your business. So where are you taking these businesses? What do you hope to do? What's the plan looks like for over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah. I guess it's something I think about a lot, but our publishing business is becoming, or it's growing fast. It's going very, very fast, actually. And like I said, at any given time, we're writing 9 to 15 books. And that sounds like a very little amount of books, but you have to understand that they're a very, very large project. They take many, many different months. And there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot that goes into writing a good book. There are many books that are out, and the publishing industry, self-publishing industry is huge. But the problem is because it's so big, it's competitive. And because it's competitive, people are resorting to AI tools, ChatGPT, for example, or whatever AI LLMs are available in the market. I'm not saying I'm against that, or I'm not saying that that should not be used as a tool, but it should not be writing everything for you, right? So that's something we avoid at all costs. But what I'm getting to is with the way we are doing it, we give our authors full creative freedom. We let our authors retain 100% of their intellectual property. That publishing companies do not do this. And most importantly, we do not take royalties. So I believe in a lifetime value approach with all my clients. It's the one term I use in every single one of my calls. My pricing is really low because
Mm-hmm.
my cost is significantly lower than my competitors. But I tell them just because my cost is lower doesn't mean my quality is lower. My quality is the same. The reason why I'm more affordable is because I want to work with you for the rest of my life. I don't want to just write a book for you, publish it, and market it for a few months and call it a day. I want to publish it, I want to market it, and then I want to make sure that whatever objectives you have in place for the next 3, 5, 10 years, I want to help you achieve those objectives. Whether it be I want more speaking gigs, I want to do one-on-one coaching, I want to do workshops at multinational companies, right? So that is something that's the approach we take for all our businesses. Lifetime value is the most important thing for us. And to your question, life size, I believe, in the next few years, either we merge with a larger publishing firm that is aligned with our values, so the keeping letting our authors keep the creative freedom and intellectual property. I don't see that happening. Possibly, I'm not sure if publishing companies would want to change their ways, but I feel like the industry is changing really, really quickly, and they're also affected, right? Because you look at these really, really large storytelling agencies or publishing agencies, they're unable to get new business simply because there's so many options. And when a client is presented or prospect is presented with so many options, they're going
Mm-hmm.
to look at two things: quality and cost. Quality for the most part is the same because writers are writing for all these publishing companies. They're all freelance writers. And as far
Mm-hmm.
as cost is concerned, they're obviously going to look for the cost that's most affordable or most bang for your buck.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the 3 to 5 year plan for life size.
I see. Okay. So let's talk about some of the, every business as we built, I'm sure you've been working on it for a few years, whether it's lifestyle, but publishing or content consulting, there's always ups and downs, some challenges as a business owners we all go through, there's no straight line to it, right? What's
Yep.
been challenging, if we talk about it, what kind of obstacles you have to get over in order to be where you are in a business, Omer?
Yep. That's a great question, and obviously, all entrepreneurs, all business owners go through quite a bit. Um, for me, I think my biggest blessing, and I see it as a blessing, a lot of people won't see it as a blessing, is I started my first company when I was 16. I was in high school, I was in 10th grade. And I still, to be honest, I still don't know why I started it, but it was just something that was stuck in my head.
That was
And we
content or
saw
that was publishing? Which
that
one was?
was no, that was a diff. So I've had two companies before this, and I've been in the IT and e-commerce industry for, like I said, almost 9 years. But my first one basically was an e-commerce store for active streetwear, and this was back in Pakistan. And the whole e-commerce side of things in Pakistan, we were 10 years behind North America. There was no Shopify there. You had to build a website on Magento, which is a fully custom built website.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, people did not trust online stores because there was a lot of fraud. And it's all cash on delivery in Pakistan. Nothing is prepaid. So we
I
had to
see.
deal with fraud as well because somebody would order but not pay. So it's a huge risk for us because we would still have to pay the delivery fees. So when I started that, I started with two of my best friends, and then I found a vendor, and we were manufacturing from his factory, who later became my partner in my second business. But for me, that was like my master's degree at 16. The lessons I learned from that, I was the social media manager, I was a call center individual, I was a founder, I used to pick, pack, and ship, I designed everything, I did the marketing, I did the paid ads, I used to go to events, I literally stood at food events wearing my t-shirt and had my clothes, our
Wow.
products on a rack.
Mm-hmm.
So I had half my school wearing my clothes, I had other schools wearing our clothes. So it was an experience and a half for me, and it's a huge blessing because I failed. If that business had become a little bit successful, then I would have had this inflated ego that I'm an entrepreneur now and I'm a business owner and I'm successful. But I failed miserably, and we completely ran out of money, and we all had to also go to university. So for me, it was a huge failure at the time. But now that I look back at it and I look at what I learned and the experience I was able to gain at such a young age, and the fact that I learned the value of money, because when you're young, you don't know what money is. Like, you see people making it, and maybe your parents are making good money, and you put no value in it. But when you're making it yourself and you're working hard and after school and packing and everything, then you start to realize, wow, this is what real life is. And I guess I was just lucky enough to realize that at an early age and gain a lot of experience at such a young age.
So you didn't fail because of short of effort or something. Your hard work was there. You were creative. You're working hard. So what was the cause of failure? Was it a business model itself, or was it just a social circumstance that didn't let you succeed, or caused you to have that setback?
Yeah, I think the biggest for me at that point was just financial illiteracy. Like, I had no idea what finances. I did not know what profit and revenue was at that time. I had no idea. I did not know what net profit was or gross profit. None of this stuff. So for me, it was just money coming in, and that's all profit, and we're going to spend it. There was no
Yeah.
concept of reinvestment. There was no concept of R&D. There was no concept of A/B testing with our marketing. It was just money's coming in. We spend more money on ads. We manufacture more products. And I've had this problem for a very long time, where I like to spend a lot of money on developing new products without having any data to back it up, because I'm a creative at heart myself. So at that time, I was just developing new products, but my sales were declining because my marketing was stagnant. There was nothing new going on. So there was a lot of different factors that sort of,
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
but it was a good experience.
That's definitely, very common in a restaurant business as well, in a retail as well. Is tempting that money coming in, just use the money to do whatever, right? So that is not, I think, unique to you. I think a lot of business owners go through that stuff when you early on when you're building a companies, right?
Yeah, but it's important. It's the most important aspect of running or being an entrepreneur is failing. I think it's the biggest. People don't see it as a blessing when it happens because it's a very bad experience. But when you look back at it, you start to realize, wow, if I had not failed over there, if I had not learned from my mistakes over there, I would not be at the position I am today. So there's a lot of success with failure. I think success and failure are intertwined, and you cannot be successful without failing.
Yeah, yeah. As long as you use it as a feedback and learn from it, move on, I think it's fine. But if you just gonna stay in the same mode of a failure, definitely you're not gonna gain anything out of it, right? But kudos to you that you learned something from it and you just move on and just build another company.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Very interesting. So, how can business owners help you? And how what are you hoping to achieve? Any shape or form? Any definitely, business leaders are watching or listening to our podcast. I will definitely encourage them to reach out to you for conversation. Hey, I learned so much from our discussion, a business model you have there. Definitely, I learned so much. I'm sure business owner who are reaching out to you, they're gonna learn so much from you as well. And always you need a new options to run a business, right? So we all look for new perspective, new option to run a business. I'm sure a business owner who are reaching out to you, they're gonna learn a different option to run their business as well. How could anybody help you? First of all, how could they connect with you? First of all.
Yep. So I mean, over email, I'm on LinkedIn as well. Obviously, you can always reach out, and um, I think for most entrepreneurs nowadays, they're just trying to save on their costs because everything's become significantly more expensive for business owners. So and I know a lot of business owners are looking to outsource their work. They're using platforms like Upwork. They're using platforms like Fiverr to get find talent in Pakistan or India. And I think those are great platforms to start off with. But I'm happy to have a conversation with anybody if they're looking for good, respectable, and trustworthy talent in Pakistan or Southeast Asia as a whole, because I understand the way that part of the world works, and I'd be happy to support or get you connected or get anybody connected for that matter to any type of support that they need.
Very interesting. Yeah, I will include a link to your LinkedIn below this video as well. People can definitely click a button and they can reach out to you. They can connect with you and definitely encourage them to reach out to you for conversation. And who knows where the discussion can take you.
Yeah, no, I'd really appreciate that, and wonderful speaking to you, and you had some great questions.
All right, thanks. It was a great discussion, and I hope we'll talk again in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Omar. Okay.